Assalamualaikum. We are from group 27. So today we are presenting about smart legal contract, the Malaysian legal approach. So this is our group members. For introduction, a contract is an agreement between two or more people to bind themselves to the terms agreed upon. At a certain age, there may be a disagreement on certain issues resulting in a breach of contract. The aggrieved party may file a lawsuit in court to force the other party to perform the contract or pay damages. A contract must contain 6 elements that make it a legal and binding document. First, offer. An offer that particularly details exactly what will be provided. Second, acceptance. The other party agreements to the offer made. Third, intention to create legal relation, legally enforceable terms and conditions. Fourth, consideration. Between the parties must give in written or something of value according to the promise. Fourth, certainty. Both parties intend to keep their promise. And the last one is capacity. The parties' capacity in terms of age and mental ability. For the next point, the contract is written and signed by all parties involved. However, there are several other types of contracts that are considered enforceable and some that are not and only act as a method for the court to determine any party's obligations. Next, a smart legal contract was invented in 1997 by Nick Szabo and is defined as a piece of code that is stored in a chain of blocks and executes the terms of the contract when the conditions are met. These smart contracts are conditional, and when certain conditions are met, new actions are carried out. Furthermore, the code used can contain as few or as many conditions as are required to complete a specific transaction. For the last point, smart legal contracts have made a good development within these contracts and can now be digitally automated, and consumers are assured that contracts can be completed more quickly. With the existence of smart legal contracts, it will improve business efficiency and predictability and reduce the need for contracting parties to trust one another.
So today I would like to present for formation in the smart legal contract. To be legal and enforceable under common law, a contract must have 4 fundamental components. The Contract Act 1950, or other words CA, controls Malaysia's establishment, execution and enforcement of contracts. Traditional contracts have traditionally been used. However, if the above mentioned essential characteristics of a contract are satisfied and the criteria of the CA, smart contract may be regarded as legitimate and valid under Malaysian law. So the 4 fundamental components is Section 10, Subsection 1, Section 2A, Section 2B, and the last one is Section 5, Subsection 1. So, as we can see from the provision of the CA above, the establishment of a contract under Malaysian law, which is a need and is conceptual and may be employed flexibility in several scenarios. This discovery implies that smart contracts have the potential to be legally legitimate and enforceable under Malaysian law. In addition to whether smart contract may be legally enforced in Malaysia, the Electronic Commerce Act 2006, or other words ECA, acknowledge contract and electronic signature valid. The ECA's considerable backing and the smart contract might be regarded as a legally binding commitment. The ECA applies to any commercial transaction conducted electronically and commercial transaction conducted by the federal and state governments. So ECA may be extensively understood to encompass smart contracts given its electronic nature.
Next is when are smart legal contract used. With the use of smart legal contract in business operation, it is possible for both parties to enter into an agreement technology network without having to meet face to face. Several business sectors have implemented this clever legal contract in their operation. First, insurance group. With the insurance industry uncertainty balance, a solution has been developed to increase consumer confidence through the use of smart legal contract in their operation perform. The use of smart legal contract in the operation carry out increase the security of user data. Transactions are facilitated by smart legal contract running on a blockchain are validated by the network user consensus rather than trusted intermediary. This allows consumer to avoid committing to transactions that raise doubt other than those already. Second, healthcare system. This allowed all relevant information to be obtained more quickly and reduce the use of paper. Only the relevant staff, such as doctor and medical officer, have access to the user personal information. The contract is effectively executed by the contract parties who are miners on the blockchain. The healthcare system will provide an agreement confirmation form that must be filled out with the detail of the user information. This information will be stored in the system and will not be disseminated without the user knowledge. Consumer health information system will be available in the healthcare system in the future using this method. Lastly is voting system. It is possible to prevent information falsification and error by implementing blockchain technology. The application of this technology has the potential to reduce the need for human labor. This can help to ensure that the process goes smoothly and that the government voting system is error-free. The parties involved will ensure that the blockchain transaction performed are detailed in storing confidential data.
So as for my part, I will be presenting about how to avoid issue on smart legal contract. The purpose of this smart legal contract is to give parties an understanding of the type of issues that could lead to conflict if the parties do not adequately address them in their contract. As for the first step, which is step number 1, parties can consider engaging in rigorous planning phase before getting to enter into a smart legal contract. It is to make sure to understand the business requirement and the objective of the smart legal contract. Step number 2, parties should also consider the smart legal contract from whether the form will be very depending on specific duties. It is to make sure that all of the specific duties explained clearly to avoid any problems. As for the third step, to avoid issue on smart legal contract, the parties should clarify the role of the code before entering in their smart legal contract. It is including whether the code is intended to define as well as perform contractual obligation, or it is only to design to perform them. The fourth step, it is the party would be wise to construct the coded portion of the smart legal contract in such a way that the code performance can be halted if necessary. It will be necessary to consider how to arrange this capability in order to avoid any potential for misissue by one of the parties. Lastly, the step to avoid issue on smart legal contract and accompanying technologies force parties to evaluate a broader variety of issues before entering into the contract. It could be nicely cautioned to allocate chances in relation to and to offer for malfunctioning oracles and erroneous record inputs. External occasion beyond the parties manipulate which can have an effect on the overall performance the code.
Next is the advantages and disadvantages of using smart legal contracts. Advantages. First is cost effective because they are less reliant on intermediaries and they are easy to store than paper-based contract. Second is speed and efficiency because there is no paperwork to complete, process or time spent resolving errors that frequently occur when manually filing out documents, so it can be implemented immediately. This means there is no need to wait because they are automated and digital. Third is accuracy. Smart legal contract boosts accuracy and most users utilize it since it is dependable and highly accurate. Also, it can eliminate errors caused by the manual completion of various forms. Fourth is security. Smart legal contract encrypt and meddle with data, making them a significantly more secure alternative to paper-based contract because of their high level of security, so it can be utilized in government office and financial institution. Disadvantages. First is difficult to update. Smart legal contract is difficult to update. Modifying smart legal contract procedure is practically impossible because every programming error can be time-consuming and expensive to rectify. Second, lack of flexibility. Smart legal contracts are useless to law firms because logic-based execution is frequently difficult. Smart contracts are detached from the real world and external events due to their lack of flexibility, despite the considerable impact that external events can have on companies and transactions. Third is deferred transaction. When the chain network is congested, it can cause transaction to be interrupted, resulting in transaction costs that eventually exceed the costs incurred in traditional contracts.
Lastly, conclusion. Smart legal contract are computer technology that are stored in public database and technologically is the executing of an agreement. It provides smart legal contract user with speed and efficiency, accuracy and a high level security when it comes to executing and managing things. A smart legal contract needs to be expanded in all industry sector to facilitate business for all parties. With this, it can make Malaysia one of the countries that can reduce the use of paper and at the same time to be able to fully implement the use of technology. That's all from our group. Thank you.